Welcome back in the pursuit of wealth, Tilray traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Thursday, October 30th. It's Halloween Eve. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to be diving into TLRY. We'll bring up the price chart. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the technicals and what to expect in terms of the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. And spoiler alert, sell pressure has been ramping up. Obviously, we've seen that in the share price, but the technical indicators, patterns, signals, all showing still a bit more weakness ahead. And this is something that I warned about. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And full disclosure, I do own Tilray. It's my largest MJ portfolio holding. And if you haven't already, you can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as one of my platforms of choice going forward. So the Tilray interview got, I think last time I checked, it was about 12.9 thousand views, almost 13,000 views in about a week. And if you recall, there's been some other previous interviews. My first one with Erwin Simon, CEO of Tilray Brands, that one's only about 6,000 views. So it's already got double. And that was posted like 6 months ago. And there's been some BNN interviews that only had like 2,000 views. So there's a lot of interest in Tilray. It's especially at this point in time because we're starting to see had net profit, had positive net income. We're really starting to turn a corner, in my opinion. But they're definitely turning a lot of heads and very, very, kind of just interested retail fan base, right? Like it reminds me of some of the greatest stocks. Right, this is generally what happens. Same thing happened with Amazon, and same thing happened with Bitcoin and Tesla. And everybody said that Tesla was going to go bankrupt. Right, they make less cars in a year than Toyota makes in a month. Yada yada yada. And when there's this level of interest in a company, yes, there's going to be times where there's uncertainty. There's going to be those 80 to 90+% pullbacks, but Amazon dropped 95% in 2001 after the big tech boom, and they weren't selling federal, like Schedule 1 federally illegal drugs, right? Apple almost went bankrupt in 1997 if it wasn't for Microsoft. And they weren't selling, again, illegal drugs, right? So if this happens to the best of the best companies not selling illegal drugs, imagine the ones that are. In my opinion, Tilray's in the upper echelon. It's up there with, obviously you can't compare it to a Tesla or an Amazon, but in my opinion, it's the Amazon of this sector. It's going to be the biggest when it's all said and done. Hadn't posted any videos in a while on Tilray because I was posting all of the shorts. And I'm curious, I reached out to the Pow Group private community and they really enjoyed them. So I posted about 5 of them. And let me know your thoughts and opinions if this is something you would like to see more of on the channel. But, a lot of people probably already watched the interview. Some maybe even watched it 2 or 3 times. But it's a great way to just get it in a minute or two, highlight the key points, and then share it with a friend or family member, etc. Right? So I think it's a great way to get the word out, so to speak. And if you recall, this was about a week ago as well. I posted this video here. I said 140 USD was the low, and I warned that we could potentially see 113, which is the next target. So we had 135 and then we had 113. We closed at the low at 140. That was a red flag for me. So I said more than likely going to hit 135, but 113 would be the next after that. And then yesterday I posted this video, price chart warnings on SNDL, Canopy Growth, and Curaleaf. I said that there was multiple bearish pattern signals, indicators all showing up on the chart for pretty much the whole sector. And you might be wondering, this is a Tilray video, why are we talking about SNDL, Canopy Growth, and Curaleaf? Well, that's because the whole sector moves together, not down to the day, the second, the minute, but when in doubt, zoom out. Generally, on the longer term perspective, each one follows one another. So if we're seeing major sell warnings on a lot of the rest of the sector, then we're going to anticipate that on Tilray as well. And I've actually been in contact with SNDL and Canopy Growth. I'm still trying to get in contact with my contact and I, who's been helping me arrange some of these interviews in the past, has reached out to Boris Jordan and team at Curaleaf. So we're trying to get, these are the next interview candidates. If anybody has any other requests or interviews that you would like to see CEOs on the channel, please let me know. But yes, SNDL has expressed some interest in Canopy. They have their earnings coming up on November 7th, so we'll see if we can line them up something after earnings. And then, yeah, would love to get Boris Jordan and Cureleaf on as well. But as you can see, the whole sector was pretty much bearish today. We only had a little bit of green. Oxley standing out, sitting at 16 cents. 18 cents is key resistance there. If we break that, we have some runway until about 35 cents. But as you can see, the losers on the day today, we had CXXI, MSOX, Tilray, Verano, MSOS. So again, there was major chart warnings, like I said yesterday, and that carried over into today. We also had some Powell Algo sell alerts go off, and I mentioned this in this video as well. I believe it was this one here, that we could still see a daily EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, which ended up being the case. And then same thing with SNDL. You can see here, already had the EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. If we bring up Cureleaf, CURLF, same thing there. So we're seeing that now. And then CGC, also seeing the EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and that was a descending triangle with a target of 111. And today we hit a new daily lower low and hit 121. So we're about 10 pennies away from that. So again, if you only own Tilray and you're not looking at the rest of the sector, if you're not looking at the other peers in the space in the Canadian landscape or the US side of things, MSOS, you're not getting the full picture. And I mentioned that we had the first target, which was the bear flag target of 135. Then we had the head and shoulders target of 113. And then we had an hourly bear flag as well saying 129. And today the low was 128 and we closed at 129. So you literally can't make this stuff up, right? These are huge points of interest in the chart, and those were the levels that I gave you like a week ago or more, is when I first started talking about it. So we are looking at, we closed near the low of the day today. We are looking at 113 as our next major level of support, and we do have price action support there and a higher low at 114. So there should be a lot of support there. If we do lose 113, we're probably heading back down to $1 and close to daily oversold territory, and that goes for most names in the space right now. But we're in a clear daily downtrend with lower highs and lower lows, so we need to start the daily bounce, get back into a daily uptrend. So it's going to take a while before that occurs. And then something else that could happen more than likely tomorrow or in the next couple of days, we're probably going to see some more sell alerts go off on the Powell Algo alerts for a lot of our MJ names, and specifically Tilray. You can see here it's very close to confirming a bearish triple thunder crossover. So what that is it's a custom indicator. So when it's bearish, the price loses the 10-week moving average. We see a stochastic and a MACD bear cross. When it's bullish, you get above the 10-week moving average. The stochastic and the MACD cross bullish. So when the black's below the red and they cross, that's bullish. When the black is above the red and they cross, that's bearish. So you can see here, this was the bullish triple thunder that fired off around 50, mid 50s, so about 55 cents. And then we went all the way up to $2.32. Now we're seeing the flip side of that, where the price is losing the 10-week moving average, and we're seeing a bear cross of the stochastic and the MACD, which is a bearish triple thunder. So very, very bullish when we have the bullish side of things, but this bearish formation here has us a little concerned, because we could still see the MACD cross, and more than likely would put us down, like I said, around that 113 to $1 mark. But with all that said, on the weekly time frame, we're not even really, causing, like, there's not really any major red flags in terms of the weekly time frame, because we're still in a weekly uptrend. You can see here we have higher lows and higher highs. We're just looking for a higher low compared to 103, and we're just testing weekly EMA 12 right now at 128. So as of right now, we're still extremely healthy. I know what you're thinking. How can this possibly be healthy when we pulled back about 45% from the local top there at 232? Well, again, that's why we need to understand charts and understand that we were overbought here on the RSI. We went from oversold to overbought in a very short period of time. And the most important thing is we're still in a weekly uptrend, right? So you can pull back 30, 40% and still be in a weekly uptrend. That's why it's important to understand charting and looking at this chart and saying, okay, well, we're at 232 and we have no support all the way down to 103 on the weekly time frame, and we could pull back in terms of percentage 55% and still be in a weekly uptrend. That's going to give you a huge edge on the market, right? And probably put you ahead of about 99% of retail traders out there, because most people, if they look at this chart and they don't understand what a weekly uptrend is, they don't understand what levels need to hold, they would look at this and say, there's no way we're going to pull back 40%. And if it did, that would be almost, the end of the world, so to speak. But if you understand support and resistance, weekly uptrends and downtrends in general, uptrends, downtrends in general, you would see this and you'd be like, okay, well, I need to prepare myself for at least a 30-40% pullback, and that could still be healthy, right? It'd be different if we had the higher low here and then we broke to a higher high, failed out like kind of a bull trap and didn't really see much follow through, then came back, crashed 30-40% and lost a weekly higher low in the uptrend. That'd be a completely different story. But like I said, we're still in a weekly uptrend, so no major red flags whatsoever. We are losing the 100 weekly moving average, and we have nothing nearby until 91 cents there at the 50 weekly. And on the daily time frame moving averages, we're losing the 50-day moving average. The next one nearby is the 100-day at 102. So like I said, we have a lot of support in that $1 psychological area. So the next point of interest, we're going to be looking at 113, then $1, and then we'll see if $1 psychological can hold. Obviously, if we get close to $1, then you're going to start to get concerns about the minimum bid price rule in the NASDAQ and whether or not they, have to implement a reverse split. And that's something that I said as well, is CGC just approved their reverse split. The second one, they've already did a 1-for-10. They're looking to do a second reverse split and share consolidation. They got the approval to do so from shareholders, but they're not enacting it yet. They said they're going to wait, and they have 12 months before they have to go back to investors and get approval again. So essentially, they've got 12 months where they can just do it whatever they want in that proposed range. And if they wait any longer than 12 months, they have to go back and get the vote again. So I mentioned that still had yet to happen, and that could be sort of a cloud of worry over the sector. And I also mentioned many times that if we don't get any news with regards to rescheduling, which is the whole reason why we're at $2.32 and the rest of the sector absolutely erupted, because of basically the statement that Trump said on Truth Social as well, and he posted the endocannabinoid system endorsing CBD and the medical side of things, but he also said that they were going to commit with a determination in the next few weeks on August 11th. So I said, and then we had the Charlie Kirk, everything going on, geopolitical, trade war, etc. Right? So there's a lot of issues at hand, and MJ had been taking a back burner, and crypto legislation, the final piece of the puzzle, the TLRY Act could pass over the next month or two. We're seeing altcoin ETFs go live as well. So like I said, I think after crypto policy is done over the next couple of months, they're going to pivot over to MJ. So I still think that that's the case. And I mentioned if we didn't get any news with regards to rescheduling, no news is bad news, and we're probably just going to continue to fade. And that's exactly what has happened, right? We need something concrete, not just promises, not just progress. We need actual concrete catalysts and sort of events, right? So at this point, expect a little bit more downside, but the good news is we're starting to see the bearish momentum kind of wane a little bit. We've been seeing the bearish indicators really start to ramp up, and the price action showing, like I said, down almost 50% from the local high. So I do think that we're getting close to a temporary bottom here, and it's more than likely going to be a result of an announcement with regards to rescheduling. A lot of speculation that it could happen in November. We also have the budget coming out in Canada for 2026, federal budget, so we'll see if there's any mentioning of excise tax in there. So a lot of people hopeful that there will be. I'm not holding my breath. I would say don't count on it. I'm doubtful, but if we get it, great. If not, like I said, these companies, my investment thesis is not dependent on it. All right, going in it there, it's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.